Okay, we are back again, and we are still in the bazaar. As you remember from last time, we were talking to this fellow who is, I guess, some sort of jackal, who is not a man that has a lot of pride in himself. And I'm going to actually spend this time to stock up on food. I probably should have done that before the video started, but it shouldn't take too long. And this guy is just so grateful to have anyone buy his food, and actually I don't even have to bargain with him again, so let's go up. I think we can buy probably about 100. I may have to dump some of these in my chest at the inn. Maybe we'll just do 50. Spare you a little bit of me clicking through things. 51 sounds good. All right, we'll purchase it. He's incredibly happy that we pretty much got his food at a ridiculously reduced price. So either he doesn't know how to price his food, or doesn't seem to care that he is suffering a pretty significant loss. I guess that probably wouldn't be if that is the case, that probably wouldn't be the nicest thing to do in the real world, but no thanks. But I don't think it costs us any honor. Yeah, we're still at the same level of honor, so we can skate on that little slight moral failing. So this guy doesn't have too much to say. And it's pretty kind of annoying, even if you don't have him talking or even reading through everything he has to say. He just grovels quite a bit, and so I don't think there's too much to that guy. There's just so many people here to talk to. I mean, one of the charms about, I guess, the Sierra games is kind of fun to explore and go through things, and one of, I guess, the limitations of the Let's Plays are that, unfortunately, we have to finish this up sometime, and these Quest for Glory games are just so dialogue rich, and so even this one game that, like I said, isn't the best of the best, that you can really be here forever if you play it like you normally would. So we're trying to get through it in a reasonably expedited fashion. Obviously, don't want to rush too much, but we want to be somewhat considerate of. Well, I want to be somewhat considerate of your time, and I probably don't want to do this until the end of the year. So I'm going to not dwell on too many of these guys. And speaking of which, it's time to let's move on and get into this a little bit more. So one of the things here that talk about honor is actually the thief has one small thing he can do. He can rob from this guy, and he's stealthy enough to do so. And you really don't get much from it. It's kind of pretty weak and seems kind of mean, once again, for a hero, which is why I don't get what a thief necessarily may be a character in this game. But what a paladin should do, and really any of the characters, is... Oh, good. We gave the guy some money, and now we have the ability to make our magical sword burst into flames during combat. So that's one of the paladin abilities I mentioned when you get your honors, when your honor goes up. So we did that, and normally it says you get a smile or something from him, but I guess getting a pretty cool paladin ability like that is worth the price of admission. Interestingly, that doesn't glow in our inventory, but nevertheless, when we're in combat, it will do so. So let's talk to this Kata guy here. He's a Kata, if you remember from Quest for Glory 2. They were the race of people who lived in Shapir and Razir, and a race of species, I guess, not people. And we're going to show him this pin that shows that we are heroes of... That shows us that we are hero... Alright, well, maybe we could put it on ourselves. Okay, well, that's kind of embarrassing. I thought you could show it to him. Maybe we can greet ourselves. Oh, you know what? I will actually have another item for him, which I mentioned before. This note is actually from Shima. He wanted us to give this guy. I guess he's related. Like every cat seems to be related to each other. So, that's his aunt, and he was very glad to receive that note, so that was very nice of us to do, and maybe now he's more receptive to seeing the pin, or maybe I'll embarrass myself yet again. Yeah, seems to be the case. I thought at one point you could tell him. Doesn't really... I have no idea what the point of that is in the game, then. I really thought you could do that. Anyway, let's move on, and maybe we can tell about Shapir, and he says... okay, well, I'm not going to try that... the pin... Oh. And we can ask about the sapphire pin, I guess. And so it knows that we are a friend of the Kata, and they'll always help us out. Of course, he actually plays no role in this game, as far as I know, And in fact, I don't think you ever hold on to that again, so next time you see a Kata in Quest for Glory 5, it is of no help as far as I know, though I may be just misinformed, but I believe it's one of the things that kind of just got lost in the series. So this guy over here, as I recall, doesn't really have anything. We don't really buy that. He's selling ambulance, and he guarantees it, and we don't really buy that claim, not surprisingly. You can't buy anything from him. I don't know why he's in the game. I don't know if he has anything interesting really to say. Let's see if he has any rumors. Yeah, so he's not too important as I recall. And we can buy some robes and some things from her at some point. I think you do that for another character later in the game. I'm going to pass up that right now, even though we do have a decent amount of money. I think there's a fair amount of dead time after some of the earlier events, so we can come back here and buy the things we need to buy. This guy is more along the lines of he's sort of the thieves. I don't know, the most relevant character to the thief in this game, and he pretty much just tells you if you make the thief sign to him that there shouldn't be any thieves in this town because of the honor issue. But he does teach you some acrobatic skills, and you buy ropes from him. I don't think as a fighter as a paladin, we really have anything that we need to get from him. I don't think we need the rope from him, but well, it won't stop us. I'm not going to buy that now, not that it costs that much, but we'll pass on that. And well, we've got some time left in the game, before this ends, and it doesn't look like we're going to be hailed to speak to Raja. So let's spend a little more time in the bazaar. I think this area is a little bit more interesting. The oil salesman, once again, is also a little more relevant to the thief. He has a few things he needs to use oil on when he steals, so he doesn't create any commotion. But these guys are kind of funny, so maybe we'll spend some time with these guys, and depending on how much they have to say, close out the video with these folks. But we do have some time left, so let's not rush. Okay, so it's sort of the funny interaction between these two guys, and the guy on the left is a lot more honest than the guy on the right, as you'll see. And like I said, they were based, I believe, on the I believe it's called Sanford and Son television show, which I'm not all that familiar. So if any of you folks are, you might find this even more humorous than I do. Oops. But for the most part, so these guys just kind of go back and forth. And like I said, I apologize for not doing the dialogue. I guess this is one of the areas where it'd be kind of more appropriate and amusing. But let's greet these fellows. And so this guy is very interested in obviously making a sale. And let's see, what can we buy from them? A tinderbox. We need to start. One of the things in this game that we'll see is that you actually do have to set up a camp, which is unique to, I think, every game, maybe except for the 5th, which is one of the few innovations that's kind of interesting. Let's see if we can do that. He doesn't want that, and they go back and forth about all your deals, so they're not really budging. We don't have great communication skills, unfortunately, though we did do a decent job bargaining in Quest for Glory 2 with this character, so $199. Okay, so we're not getting them to go down too much. It's not that much money, so we'll accept it. And it doesn't really take too much off. But anyway, you do have to actually set up a camp, and the tinderbox is necessary for that. So we purchase it, and you can't actually bargain any further once you make a deal like that, which is somewhat unique, I think, to this game. Okay, so we have a tinderbox, and we are coming up on the end. We're about 40 seconds before I probably should wrap up the game. So I apologize for not getting out this Savannah. I think maybe we'll take a look at the weapon guy next time, and maybe we will see if we can get out a little bit onto the map. I don't know if we're coming up close to when we have to appear before Raja again, so I can't promise that we'll have too much time to explore, but I'm glad to see that at least the city is providing us some information and entertainment despite the fact that I think it could be more extensive and more interesting just based upon what the sort of bird's eye view shows you earlier on in the game. Anyway, we're over the 10-minute mark, so I want to close out this video, but thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.